When I get a product in for a review, usually I can tell fairly quickly whether or not I like it. And it was very quickly with this one. No wonder why, just look at it. It looks like a younger PS Vita sibling. It's almost identical in terms of dimensions and screen size. The performance was way above my expectations. Price point is very appealing, right now around $80, plus it even has a lanyard hole. Clearly it's never gonna replace my PS Vita, cause it cannot play Vita games. But there is a lot to like in here, and a few things that could have been done better. So let's take a closer look. This, my friends, is Trimui Smart Pro, with almost 5-inch IPS LCD, 1GB of RAM, quad-core CPU, Wi-Fi and 5000 mAh battery. I wouldn't expect from this chipset any miracles, especially when I haven't tried it before, but I gotta tell you, it pleasantly surprised me, which I needed after latest X3 Pro fiasco. We will get to the performance in a second. First, let's quickly check the build quality. It's made out of plastic, dual joysticks, Dpad, action buttons, start, select, menu, and 2 front-facing speakers from the front side. From the top, bumpers, triggers, power, volume, USB-C. From the bottom, headphone jack, micro SD slot, microphone, USB-C and a function switch. D-pad is not bad, bit more stiff than on the PS Vita. It doesn't work great for something like Street Fighter. I could pull off some moves easily, but Hadouken was very tricky. Hardware test in the settings was also showing me some weird inputs. Joysticks are also not ideal. They look identical to the PS Vita ones, but they are more recessed. They don't stick out as much. You have to control them ideally from the middle, not from the sides, cause then you will also touch the plastic body with your finger, not just joystick. The circles around the joysticks do light up. You can switch it off if you don't like it. Would be great if I could also choose single color, cause they are changing constantly. Bumpers have minimal travel. I would prefer if they would stick out more, for example like on a Switch Lite. Triggers are quite small and you need to really press them down to activate them, whereas on the Switch you can just touch them and it activates straight away. But realistically you will only need them for PS1 games. There are 29 emulators included. It can go up to PSP, Dreamcast, N64. Even then, not all games will be playable at full speed, especially harder to emulate ones. It is running some custom Linux-based OS. There is no custom firmware available as of the time of making of this video, maybe later. But even stock is very straightforward. It has everything you're gonna need for true plug-and-play, no hassle, no nonsense retro experience. You just boot it up, go to the game, fire desired one and have a blast. And if you buy the device with the SD card, they're gonna be included. If not, it's gonna be cheaper. Also huge thanks to Geek for providing this unit for honest review. It's greatly appreciated. Check their website down below. Mine device came with 128GB SD card. There were actually pretty good games included. I was surprised by the selection they provided, especially PS1 and PSP games. And why not to start with PSP Emulation? I was very surprised to see Third Birthday running at 2x and 30 FPS, Ghost of Sparta 2x and 20 FPS. Auto frame skip was turned on, still they were very enjoyable. GTA Vice City Stories 2x 30 FPS, here and there some frame drop but nothing major. Liberty City Stories bit slower but still very good. Man, this is solid performance. It's even more impressive considering the X3 Pro PSP performance. There is the power saving switch from the bottom of the device. Not sure when it is activated and when it is not. I had this in this position the whole test, but it didn't make much difference even when I flipped it. I would say the effect should be noticeable immediately, but the frame rate was mostly the same, so not sure what it's all about. Ratchet & Clank, satisfying, bit slower at 2x. The joysticks in here were acting kinda weird. I've noticed some minor drift. There is a tool for calibration in the settings, but it doesn't help much. Also, sometimes I have hard time making the character to run. Instead it was just walking, cause it thought I'm not pushing the joystick all the way to the side, but I was. Dante's Inferno and Prince of Persia Revelations, kinda slower. Even when I change it to 1x resolution, it helps just a tiny bit. Burnout Legends at 2x, running solid, so even faster racing games are fun. Noah was also running solid at 2x, and here you can also utilize second joystick for first-person shooter games for aiming. PSP Emulation feels right at home on this device. I'm pleased to see that, because it certainly feels like it belongs to the PlayStation Portable family. Also guys, like, subscribe, join if you are enjoying these videos, because there is certainly more to come. Let's move on to Dreamcast Emulation. House of the Dead 2 running solid at 60 FPS at native resolution. When you press menu in the game, the quick menu pop up. You can save or load game in here. You can also go in the advanced RetroArch settings. This menu works for every emulator except PPSSPP. I like it, it's very handy, especially for beginners like myself, and especially when they haven't included any shortcuts for save, load, fast forward, etc. I think you can set it up yourself in RetroArch settings. Would be nice if it's there straight from the beginning. Crazy Taxi 2, no issues. Res, enjoyable. Sometimes there is also room for upscaling. You can try to higher the resolution to 800 by 600. I was surprised how many games were able to run at this resolution. Even Soldier of Fortune was playable, which is usually not on these lower powered devices. To me, it seems like they're using some black voodoo magic to speed this chip up. First signs of slowdown was with Unreal Tournament, which is certainly not easy to emulate. Dreamcast Emulation kinda fun, even with the black borders at the side. You can still turn on widescreen emulation hacks if you are into them. It is nice to see here also Pico 8 emulator. You can come across some nice hidden gems in here. PS1 Emulation, no issues. I've turned on enhanced resolution in the graphics settings, cause you know PS1 graphics, they leave a lot to be desired, so that slowed it down a bit, but you can leave it all at default. I've tested also triggers in here, and yeah, they are not great, but that's to be expected in my opinion, cause they wanted to save money everywhere they could, and that's the theme for every aspect of this device. It's meant to be as cheap as possible, while keeping it somewhat playable. What else do we have here? Star Fox 64, Turok 3, Super Mario 64, Wave Racer 64 running okay, but I'm sure harder to emulate like GoldenEye or Perfect Dark would give you some frame drops. They haven't even included them on the SD card. DS Emulation was okay, but when I enabled high definition 3D graphics, there were these black bars. Without it, pretty good. Okay, now let's sum it up. Final thoughts. What I like? I like the shape, the design, I like the performance, the price is not bad either, battery life and standby mode also above average. Usually, when I leave this handheld switch on, I come back to it few days later and there is like 50% battery decrease. But not this one. This one was holding on good. 5-inch IPS LCD is also solid in my opinion. I've seen much worse, and even on more expensive devices. The main menu was easy to use. Save states and load states were easy to operate. Speakers sounding adequate. What I don't like: the joysticks and the triggers and the bumpers and the Dpad. Those could have been better. I mean, they are usable, but I'm sure you're gonna come across some issues in this field, and it will take some getting used to, for sure. Overall, not bad device, certainly appealing, had fun trying it out. Make sure to check out also other reviews for a better picture, cause I'm not your retro guru, I'm just a casual guy like yourself. Thanks to you for watching, thanks to members and patrons for support. Like, subscribe, join if you enjoyed. I'll catch you in the next one.